Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pop Culture Spread, our fun weekly movie and streaming news show. Jace, let's get into some big news. All right, mate. The headline that we've got first off is Disney's Mandalorian and Grogu, Tron Ares, Toy Story 5, and more get release dates ahead of CinemaCon. Whoa, this is exciting, Jace. We've got a list.
Can you believe we're talking about the 2026 slate? But it is worth talking about, Rick, because this is it's Disney, one of the biggest studios in the world. Let's see what they're planning on releasing.
What are they offering?
And as you can see by that image and our thumbnail, there's some major films being released that year. Mandalorian and Grogu, Rick.
That's awesome.
The first cinema outing for Star Wars since 2019's disaster of The Rise of Skywalker. So it's the first time Star Wars will be back on the big screen for 7 years.
Wow.
Which if you'd asked me in 2012 when Disney bought Star Wars, that would happen, I'd go, no freaking way. But they made a couple of horrible decisions, and here we are. And I think it's a smart move to release that one. It's getting a May release, though. Mandalorian is getting May 22nd, which is a very common date for Star Wars people in the past. So it'll be good that getting that. But we're also getting a sequel to Tron Legacy, which honestly, Rick, I'm really excited about because I really like that film. It contains one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard to a film done by Daft Punk. Jared Leto's in it. The idea of it kind of goes, I don't know. Because the idea, Rick, is that digital AI characters come from the Tron world out into the real world. So we'll see how that kind of goes. Toy Story 5. Are you shocked that we're getting a Toy Story 5?
Yeah, why? Anyway. Yeah.
I'll tell you why, Rick. Money.
Correct.
Money, make it rain.
Yeah.
That's why we're getting another Toy Story. Mind you, though, every single one of them are great films. Even Toy Story 4 was a great film. So there you go with that. And then, obviously, the other big one where is going to be Moana, the live-action version of Moana.
Why? God, do we really need to see The Rock?
Because that's what Disney do. They do live action. And Dwayne Johnson is reprising his role as playing Maui in it.
Is it gonna do it? Like, are the kids already seen the animated one? Are they really gonna switch over to the live action?
Well, you raised an interesting point there, Rick. Like,
who's it for?
Who's they really for?
Great.
Because in a way you could say the live action remakes of some of the earlier ones they did, that was for nostalgic reasons. But if you're making an animated film and then 2 years later you're doing live action,
what's the point? There is no point.
Yeah, what's the kind of point? There are some other films that have been listed, Rick, that'll be coming out from them, which I know nothing about. One is called The Amateur. Searchlight released something called Night Bitch. That's interesting.
Okay.
But that's really, when it comes down to it, the three biggies that they're going to come out with for the year are Mandalorian and Grogu, which I do think will be a $1 billion film.
It will be.
Well, because everybody loves, the baby Yoda. So it's going to get people into the cinema. Toy Story 5 is probably another $1 billion film just because of its legacy and history and respect.
Where are they going with it, though? I
have no idea. And then Tron is probably the big risk because Tron Legacy obviously was a box office failure and a critical failure for most people. So, but yeah, Disney's putting its hand out. And if you also mentioned with this story, Rick, I'll just quickly, CinemaCon. Do you know what CinemaCon is?
No.
CinemaCon is a convention for theater owners and that to go to. Here's the big movies that we're going to be playing in your theaters. But what it's turned out to be is an amazing con where you actually get to see not only trailers before anybody else in the world gets to see them, you actually get to see sometimes big segments of films.
Yep.
Like James Gunn, without doubt, maybe not at this one, but next year we'll be showing a chunk of Superman there and things like that. They tend to show all the theaters owner, hey, this is why it's going to be worth playing our film in your cinema. So it's becoming a really important convention that not many people go to as well. So it's kind of cool. It stays boutique, but you get some unbelievably cool news comes out of CinemaCon. I can guarantee you, after that event, Rick, we'll be doing a bunch of stories on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
When is the event? Does it say when the event is on? No.
Soon. I know
Soon?
it's very soon.
Oh, cool. I'm saying that.
I haven't got it quite here, but I actually think it's only a few weeks away, Rick, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but cool.
Yep.
All right, Jace. And let's talk some other news. I don't know how I feel about this next story, Jace. A new
it almost became Train Rig of the Week.
Did it? Yeah. Oh, a new Matrix movie is in development with the Cabin in the Woods filmmaker Drew Goddard at the helm. What is Warner Brothers thinking with this? Why?
Well, that's everybody's immediate reaction. Anybody who saw Resurrections was quite
terrible,
shocked at the type of film they ended up making, which is almost a movie that's making fun of the Matrix in a weird way. Very esoteric in some senses. But obviously Warner Brothers feels like there's money to be wrung out of the Matrix sponge. And the only reason it didn't become a train wreck story of the week for this show is because of who's behind it, Drew Goddard. Yeah. Now, Drew Goddard is a fantastic writer. You know, the first season of Daredevil was his. Cabin in the Woods, as you mentioned. He's been involved in writing scripts for multiple franchises. However, they must have an idea here, Rick. They've got to have an idea. Because look at the way the fourth one finished, which was really bizarre. Really kind of odd.
Wasn't good.
Really was a love story in many ways. So I think this would have to be a reboot or a
different
original sequel that doesn't talk about Neo. Don't know where they're going to go.
They got to do something, mate. They're going to lose.
Screaming out for this, are they?
No.
I mean, you're going to have your hardcore fans going, hell yeah, I want to see it. But really, the general public don't want to see a sequel to Matrix again, do they?
Well, they're going to throw this straight to streaming if it does. It's not going to be cinema worthy.
Oh, okay. Hypothetically, they said we're going to do a Matrix season. All right, we're going to do a long form 8-episode Matrix storyline.
Then yes,
that makes me more interested, honestly. So yeah, who knows? You know? But yeah, it's I don't.
Is Keanu going to be in it? Are they all?
Well, Keanu now kind of, if he's in it, plays an Obi-Wan Kenobi type role, doesn't he? He's the elder statesman now. He'd be more like them visiting the Oracle. Maybe they go and meet Neo, but I don't know how that. It's a rich, like the concept's so excellent with the Matrix, just the core idea of we're living in a simulation by AI robots that we built and overturned us and we used as battery. That whole concept is still solid as hell. It's just, and therefore, a lot of room for storytelling, you know? And if you ever saw the Animatrix little short films they released and like vignettes they released, some of them were excellent. If I wanted to see a new Matrix movie, I'd actually like, and I can't believe I'm saying this,
here we go.
See a prequel. I'd like to see a prequel. I would like to see the robots overthrowing.
Fair enough.
That's what I would like to see. How did the robots overthrow in the early days of? It'd be a very dark and disturbing film. That's what I'd like to see. But
maybe they
knows? But we get more Matrix, mates. We get more Matrix.
As long as the
Wachowskis take the blue pill or the red pill.
Well,
You're going to be like Joey Pants and go, look, I know this isn't a real state, but it tastes delicious anyway.
All right, buddy. Let's get into our next story, which I'm pretty excited to talk about.
Yes.
And that is the Fantastic Four. Julia Gardner joins Marvel movie as Silver Surfer. Now, this is not
the Silver Surfer you're thinking about.
Correct. There's a lot of people that have been upset on the internet about this. There's a lot of woke people going on, and it's not what everyone thinks it is.
Well, let me just say this first. The only other cinematic version we had of the Silver Surfer was fantastic by Doug Jones. He did a great job. In a movie that isn't great, he was a fantastic Silver Surfer. So I want to give him credit for that. But look, incel nerds out there, hold on to your jocks. It's the Shalla version of the iconic character. It is absolute comic book canon, and grow up a little bit. Is it really a big deal? I think you just want to get really talented people in your movie. You can't go wrong with this young lady. And I think it's a great casting choice and very consistent with their casting with the type of level of talent so far that they've hired to be in this production. I think this is great. However, a bit of a side note on this story, Rick, that I wanted to touch on. And before we move on, what do you like this girl? Have you watched Ozark before?
Look, I think it's a good direction of what they're going to go in. This opens up several possibilities for the MCU. People maybe who aren't too familiar with it, or the Charla Bowl character was the first love interest of the first Silver Surfer in 1968, and they're not a character that lives in Earth 616, so they're in multiple universes. So this opens a lot of possibilities. So Fantastic Four may take place in an alternative universe. So
and that's what you're kind of leading me to, and I think I have evidence here to back that theory.
Oh,
hello, and this is where I was going to spin off to. Just 2 days ago, on the 4th of April, Marvel Studios released this poster. So you can see this poster. It says Happy 4/4 Day. Great. But what stands out to this poster that absolutely backs your thing? This. If you look at the background, Rick, look at that city structure.
Yeah.
That's not normal Earth.
No.
That's a different multiverse. That's a different universe. That is not the same. So, in saying that, I don't believe this Fantastic Four is set in the Marvel 616 at all.
Correct.
I think it's set in another one, which makes total sense. Because how else can you have the Fantastic Four live in the 616 and never be mentioned in any other thing?
Exactly right.
That would have been the biggest thing in town. So with this, if they're now in a different universe and, you know what I mean, in that universe, they all know them. Everybody knows the Fantastic Four. So I actually, I like the poster. I thought it was cool.
It's great.
But I thought it was a great way to kind of let us know without an interview or something that, visually this has got a style and look, and it's not exactly where you think it's going to be set. I thought it was great.
Yep. I can't wait for this. This is just little teasers like that.
It all makes sense. In a way, I'm starting to think Deadpool and Wolverine are not set in the 616, that they cross over the multiverse because, what was the TVA? That's what the TVA is about. But I think all these characters will merge for Secret Wars. So.
Oh, yeah, and then they'll come back to an original Silver Surfer, and it's just going to be all...
Yeah, it'll be great.
It's going to be great. So, mate, cannot wait.
Good on Julie Garner. I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
She's good. She's good. Yep. Well, let's cross over to DC, mate. We got some DC news.
Yes, we do.
Cruella director Craig Gillespie is in talks to direct DC's Supergirl film starring Millie Alcock. What is happening over there?
This is part of James Gunn's grand plan. The story, the arc that they've wrote over a 10-year period. It is absolutely blessed by the ones above. I think they've absolutely got themselves a winner with Millie.
Yep.
So I think their casting is on point. Now, the director is only really interesting because not of the movie that they quoted, Cruella, which is my favorite film.
I, Tonya.
However, have come out with I, Tonya, which
great
was
movie,
exceptionally good, and the GameStop stock drama Dumb Money, which was awesome. So, if you're going to get somebody who looks the part, who's going to be the part. And I really think, Rick, it kind of clues you into the kind of universe that James Gunn wants to create in the Superman universe. And I think you'll find it'll be very much not just Superman alone. He'll have a family as such here on Earth. Isn't the crypto in this new Superman movie? The rumor is.
The rumor is, yeah.
Yeah, no. If you got
confirmed.
crypto in your movie, like the dog has got superpowers, then absolutely you can do a Supergirl film. And yeah. I'm all good for it at the moment. I think that director is a great director. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it will be fascinating, Rick, because this will be the first director that James Gunn and co. have hired to do a James Gunn DC Universe film that's not him.
That's not him.
So that's interesting. Like, how much freedom does this guy get? Does he have to follow everything that James Gunn has written down? Or has he got complete autonomous freedom to make the film he wants? I would think it would be the latter with James Gunn, but it's interesting. And, man, I reckon they found the perfect Supergirl, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's at that age, like, yeah. So, look, it all depends on how well the Superman movie goes, you know, which is got a break point, I guess, of this.
It has everything going for it to be a great film at this point. We don't know what get captured in the lens, and that's when that's happened and it's all done. Then
it all looks good on paper now, but like you said,
until we get to see that first trailer or images, we don't know. So
we don't know what's going to go. So, all right,
that's right.
Well, let's hope we'll see some footage coming out. Will be good. All right, Jason.
Next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we'll definitely follow the story. Before we get into the train wreck of the week, Jace, guys, if you want to hit that like and subscribe button for us, also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our videos. We would really appreciate it. And also remember, guys, you can hear us on audio podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and where all good podcasts are found. All right, Jace, we love the train wreck of the week. Who has made this week's train wreck?
Oof.
Who we got, Jace?
Wow, this is a great one. Remember, I think we reported this a couple of weeks ago about there were a couple of people looking to overthrow Bob Iger at the top of the Disney helm. They were Nelson Peltz, backed by Ike Perlmutter. Now, Nelson Peltz, who's been around for a while, decided to go into a board meeting at one point and question Kevin Feige's record. Is he that good? Really?
Yep.
Is he that good? Oh, he's only made billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars for the studio, but he can't be that good, can he? He then turned around and said, I'm just sick of all these female-led superhero films.
Wow.
We had two. And then he turned around and he goes, and do we really need to have all black casts?
Wow.
This dude come out and sat up. So he turned around and wanted to overthrow Bob Iger, the great, well, maybe once great Bob Iger. He's struggling at the moment. They wanted to overthrow him. Well, mate, did Nelson Peltz get smacked down? There is no way he was able to overthrow Bob Iger, who really, most importantly, had the backing of George Lucas, because Mr. Lucas owns a lot of Disney stock. So it was hilarious that this guy, Nelson Peltz, and what a great name for a loser, Nelson Peltz. Good name for a loser. Completely not only, tried to overthrow Bob Iger, and no one can overthrow it. He's now screwed himself up, isn't he? He's off the board and it's all over. But Disney.
What is happening? Jeez.
Disney is going through a rough patch. They made massive mistakes in politicizing their parks and their messaging in their films, and then they've done one mistake after another mistake. And this is the kind of thing you want to avoid. You want things to come back to a more reasonable balance. You don't want the pendulum to swing and going, you know what the problem with Marvel is? Kevin Feige, women and black people.
Yeah, that's just, you can't.
No, you know what I mean? We need balance. That's all we're asking for. So it's pretty nuts. That is definitely a train wreck of the week, because, not everyone kind of knows about these stories and how deceiving, evil some people can be in Hollywood. Hollywood is a disgusting place.
there's a lot of money involved in Disney, and we all know. But far out, come on, you
Oh,
like
there's so much money involved, Rick. There's so much money, you know, and there is turmoil because there's not as much money as there used to be. They have been losing hand over fist. I think 2023 is probably the worst year they would have had in decades.
Wow.
Because they had big blockbusters that just lost money. If you think about their films last year, what made money? Everything was basically a flop, from Ant-Man to what else flopped really, really hard? To a couple of their Disney live action ones, to what was the other big bomb of that? Sorry?
But if they know that trend, why don't they just end it? Like, stop doing live action movies. Stop doing,
it's a numbers game. Like, it's a numbers game, Rick. They would look at all their live action films. They look at the investment. They look at the profitability. If they've made money, they're going to pump out more. The problem is, and they know it's too late now. They've kind of destroyed a legacy of Disney animation in the process.
Yeah.
And something that Walt himself protected very much was the concept of not remaking Cinderella or Pinocchio. No, release it every 5 to 10 years as a theatrical experience so the next generation could see these wonderfully animated films in the cinema. Gonski. That was gone once they start selling those films in retail and VHS. But it's a tough time, Disney, and they have to change. They have to change their approach. You know, they wanted to be progressive, and that's great. And you can admire them for wanting to be progressive. The issue there is the audience isn't ready. So you can't make people just follow along your ideologies just because you think the time is right. You have to listen to your audience. Whether you politically agree with your audience or not, they're the ones paying the dollars to see your stuff. Now, their park attendance is down. Their movies are failing. Streaming has been a financial disaster. They got to pull something out of the hat here.
Well, maybe they need to put Bob and Nelson in the ring and do a live stream.
Like Foxy Netflix. Boxing, I reckon. Maybe a bit of jelly mud wrestling. Mate, I reckon that's about it.
That could be the
UFC
answer.
Style. Maybe UFC style.
There you go. Jace, that is it, buddy. That about wraps it up for the week, mate. So some great stories there. Guys, if you want to check myself and Jace out, we are here on this channel. You can see all our back catalogue. We've got a whole heap of trailer reactions and movie reviews and a whole heap of other stuff. So check that out. All the links are down below. Jace, is there anything that you wanted to throw out there?
You can find me on the socials. Me personally on TikTok, VHS Jace. You'll find me on a couple other shows on the interwebs, Captain's Quadrant, as well as over on the Jason Roy Gaston channel.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, we'll see everyone all next week. See you then, Jace.
See you next week, guys. Thanks for watching. If you could do us a massive favor and hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Also, come and check out us on all our social media accounts and keep up to date. And if you're looking for some clothing, you're needing some merch, we've got you covered at the Pop Culture Spread store.